Somebody lift those hands and say, it's a new rise. I need you to speak it over your own life tonight. It's a new rise. It's a new rise.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Propel Deep Dive with leaders and legends from around the world. This also is a podcast. I'm Megan DiMartino, and I'm thrilled that you're here with me today. And I'd just like to take a second to share about what Propel is all about. I have been starting, scaling, and sustaining 3 7-figure businesses in the beauty industry over the last 35 years. And I have sold 2 of those. And I'm now off to building a new brick and mortar that I'm sitting in right now, of beauty and wellness. And with that said, I sold a portion of my previous business in 2020, but I didn't sell the trade name, the URL, and the product line, Novitas Spa Clinicals. And I did, though, know that it was time to give back to you the tools that I have used to start and scale and sustain these businesses. So in 2021, I started working on a business program called Propel Your Business and Life Activation Program. So you can go to megandimartino.com or my link tree and find all about that program. But then from that, I started building the brand of Propel and the Propel community. And a community is so imperative to what you're doing. You cannot do things alone. You cannot do life alone. You cannot start a business alone. You can certainly not scale and sustain a business alone. So with that, the Propel community was birthed. And do join the Propel community. The trailer is on lower, and it shares with the Propel community itself as a daily inspiration, a weekly newsletter of inspiration, but also where you get a notification of the Propel deep dives that we do every Wednesday evening. I recently did a course called the Boot Camp, of a portion of the Propel business program. We did a summit a couple of months ago with 8 speakers, leaders and legends in their fields, and we did just a robust communication about identity and starting your business. So there's so much coming, and I would very much love you to be part of it, but you can go to YouTube and hear not only today's Propel deep dive, but the other deep dives. And you'll also hear the history of the Propel deep dive, which was the Unique Leaders Live, which I started in 2020. So I ask you to join us on the YouTube page. It helps others to find us. My guest today is Glenn Lundy. And I asked Glenn to join me during my birthday celebration week. And this is my actual birthday week. And I'm so excited that Glenn is here during this week. Glenn and I sort of kind of met while he was in his utility room, and he was interviewed by my friend Lisa Copeland, and he was still working in his dealership that he was part of. And he was, though, starting his hashtag Rise and Grind. And in that, I said, man, this guy has a lot to say that I really want to know about. And so I started getting up at 4 o'clock, guys, 4 o'clock in the morning, to be part of this hashtag Rise and Grind, which was 5 o'clock Eastern time. And I got so involved with listening not only to Glenn, which was phenomenal, but also the community. And that's what it is about. And that's what I want to share this week. It's about celebration. We cannot do life alone. It's celebrating life together. Glenn just last month had his 4th of July big extravaganza, which next year I'm going to go to. But he is all about celebration. I know that is part of his DNA. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you my guest today, birthday week, Glenn Lundy.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy to be here, Megan. Thank you. Super, super, super kind of you. And happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But, you know, as I said, Glenn, in the introduction, that you have been part of my life now since 2018. It's a lot of years.
Yeah,
a lot of years. And I really had no plan of spending my mornings with you. But one of the things that it did for me, and I've said to you, you've changed a lot in my life, was about habit. Because again, habit is, becomes part of your life and you don't even know it. And I stayed up too late. I'm a night owl. And I didn't get up terribly late, but you need enough sleep. And
Sure.
but to get up at 4 a.m, I couldn't go to bed at 2 a.m.
All right.
So I had to change when I went to bed, and then got up to be really part of what you did. So, and then from changing that one habit has changed so many other habits.
Yeah.
So, I've been a journaler. I am a prayer warrior. I mean, so many of your morning 5 principles I already did, but it was that habit of getting up and doing it. So share with our guests a little bit about the why of starting the hashtag Rise and Grind.
Yeah, Megan, like you just tapped into, and thank you so much for the last 6 years. The friendship we've been able to develop and the experiences we've been able to share have been incredible. But if you change the way you start your day, it makes a massive impact in your life. And once you really realize that, I look at the world today, Megan, and I just think, golly, a lot of people are waking up and jumping on their phone and immediately into violence and division and politics and all of these things, right? Junk food for the mind, nothing really positive. And I just think, golly, man, what a different place the world would be if everyone were to wake up, leave their phone over here for the first, half hour, 45 minutes, hour, 2 hours, whatever it is for you. And instead really dive into some gratitude and some development, maybe learn something new, take care of yourself physically, sending out encouraging messages to uplift others, right? Like so drastically different than what most, the way a lot of people experience their mornings right now. And so Rise and Grind was really, it stemmed from a few things, but ultimately realizing that there were a lot of people out there that were starting their day off negatively, and it was ultimately creating a negative experience for them in their lives. And it wasn't their fault. They didn't know any better. Nobody taught them. Nobody told them that if they changed the way they start their day, it make a massive impact in their life. No one gave them a simple structure to follow to be able to do that. And so when we created Rise and Grind, we just wanted to create a space that was filled with motivation, education, and inspiration. That's it. Just motivation, education, inspiration, and a space that people could come together, right, with other like-hearted individuals that, also wanted to get up a little early, maybe do something with their lives.
Right. But you had a job. And so I asked, what was the motivation? I mean, you're very motivational. That's in your spirit. That's in your DNA. That didn't just pop out. So when I first saw you, you had a job. I mean, you were the manager of a very large dealership. Right. And so, I saw commercials you did. You're, again, very inspirational and very creative on top of the roof and doing all sorts of crazy things. But what was the motivating factor to say, let me ask it this way. When you started it, when you started it and you had a job and you had a very influential job, did you think you would go on for 1,000 or 1,300 shows? Meaning, what was the motivating factor to start it while you had a job?
Yeah. So I really believe that if there is something that really bothers you, like really bothers you, not just bothers you a little bit, but really bothers you, and you just can't shake it. I believe that's God's way of saying we're supposed to do something about it. And for me, right after Colin Kaepernick took a knee, in an NFL game, and the United States of America went crazy. And every time I went into my social media, I just saw so much hatred and anger and division. Yeah. It really started to bother me. Like, it bothered me. I wasn't a little bit irritated or, oh, these people are stupid, and I put it to the side. Like, it bothered me. And so I just felt like God was saying, hey, man, you can't stop this from happening, but you can create one little sliver of the internet where none of this will ever exist. And that's what Rise and Grind was, is it was a space where we didn't allow any politics, any division, but like we say in Breakfast with Champions, everyone got a seat at the table. It was a space for young or older or smart or not so smart, brown, black, white, green, anywhere in between. It was a place where we could all come together and not experience any of those other things that were happening all around us. So that was the motivating factor.
Okay. So you took a step, and so was that inspiration to do that. You took that step and did it. And that's what I see throughout knowing you these years, is that you are led by circumstances or things.
Sit away.
They can join us.
Just a minute, Megan.
Sure.
You guys need to stop. This is when you come to my work, you know that when I'm doing this, you need to be patient. Place that away, please.
Father of 8.
I've got 5 of my children here with me at work today.
5. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I knew they came often, but 5 of them. Wow, they're fabulous.
Yes.
Fabulous. So, but anyhow, you're an action taker, meaning when you are inspired by something, you take action. And that's one of the very powerful things about you, Glenn, is that you don't just sit around and talk about it, you do it. But the other thing that's fascinating to me about you is that you have vision. You are very visionary, yes, but you have vision and you speak about that vision. And one of those things that you spoke about often was that someday you would say, I'm going to have the #1 morning show, and and you were going to interview Will Smith.
Yes.
Yes. And I mean, but you didn't say it once. You said it many times.
Yes.
And I'm a firm believer that, and I've lived a few more years than you, that words are powerful. The word of God says life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so words are very powerful, but also is vision. My people will perish for lack of knowledge, and vision is, also part of that. And so we live with vision and words and put it out there. And so, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will manifest in the way that you initially thought it was going to manifest.
No doubt.
No doubt. So what I see with your life, because you're so out there, is that, and you're so transparent, is that as you are embarking on different things, because Breakfast with Champions was another piece to that, that evolution, and taking that morning show and you integrated it on a platform where you could bring it together. And so it just continued to grow. And there are hundreds of thousands of people that came into that, certainly in the beginning of it. But so it built your platform and your notoriety as well. But you now are starting, so you've been in the automotive space, as I mentioned earlier. You work for a distributor. And you started then somewhere in the last, 3 years, this 800% Club, which is a consulting business.
Correct.
And so you've taken that information and background. Like I said in my intro, that's what I'm doing with Propel, to help others start their business and then scale and sustain. So you've taken your experience and started this 800% Club.
Yep.
So now in the last, 6 months, you put your microphone up and not doing that morning show.
Yep.
Because you knew it was time, because there are seasons.
Yep.
You knew that. And you put that microphone up and you've been focusing on this, which is behind you. And now you announced a week or so ago, but in this time, guys, he didn't take a vacation, folks. He wrote #1 bestselling. The guy is like, in between just doing.
Sure.
But you announced about 2 or 3 weeks ago, or a month ago now, that you had bought an existing dealership there where you live in Kentucky. So what's fascinating to me about that is that you listen. You listen. And that's what you said the other day, that you just didn't do it from your ego or mind. You listened to the Holy Spirit and were guided to this.
Correct.
So share a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, I'm actually studying right now, interestingly enough, that God's timing is always so divine, but I'm studying right now the book of Exodus and the story of Moses. And, in a lot of ways, I can kind of identify with Moses, right? He was led by God, and God did amazing things through him. And he was a good listener. He didn't understand, and he had lots of doubts and worries and fears and concerns and all of those things, which I do too in my life. I always have doubts and worries and fears and concerns, but I don't let them stop me, right? I don't let them stop me from taking action. And that's what I noticed about Moses in those stories is he had all the worries and doubts, but he still would wave his arm when God told him to wave his arm, and he would go and repeat the words that he was told to repeat. And he did all these miracles through Moses because Moses was able to listen. The crazy part about that story, though, is in the end Moses doesn't. He ends up getting angry, and ultimately because of that, after leading these people for 40 years, he doesn't make it to the promised land, right? And so I don't want that experience. I'm terrified of that particular experience there at the end. And so now that I've learned to look and listen and see, the signs that because really God does. There's road signs. They're huge signs, like go this way. But a lot of times we're too busy looking down, and we don't. That's what I really do in the morning is invest a lot of time, like looking, like what are you doing here? Why is all this happening? And so once I finally realized that you can see these things, and there is a path that's carved out that is easier, right? That is more impactful, so on and so forth. I'm just doing everything in my power to take those nods and move in that direction. Now, with that said, Megan, I really do think it's important to say this. So when we are given an opportunity, it is important that we max that opportunity out, right? Take it to overflow. And then once you take these things to overflow, that's when you'll start to see, oh, wait, now we can go this way, or now we can go this way. A lot of times, especially when I left the dealership world, which people thought I was crazy for doing that, people call me often and they'll say, hey, I'm kind of don't like my job, or I don't like my position. I'm not really, I'm thinking about quitting. And I'll always ask them, have you maxed it out? Because you begged for that opportunity in the beginning. Please give me this job. You put on your suit and your tie. You filled out your application. You were so excited about it. Now you've been there 3 years, right? And now you're looking back going, yeah, I don't know if I really want to be here. And so I just always think it's important to let people know that, yes, you should say yes when you see the signs. And yes, you should move and take action immediately. But in my experience of life, it comes from God once we max out the previous opportunity. If all of a sudden you're in an opportunity that you begged for, or a season that you begged for, but you're all squirrel and you're just looking all over, I don't think that's God. I think that's us trying to fulfill our will versus God's will. So that's all we've been doing. We've been taking things to overflow. Rise and Grind started as a little morning show. We took it to overflow, man. Raised over $1 million for different charities, did 1,500 episodes. Like, we took it far. Like, we maxed it out. We're super far. We maxed it out. Breakfast with Champions. We maxed that thing out. The connections, the relationships, all of those things, right? And my job in the dealership, I maxed it out. I went as far as I could possibly go. And so that's
I love that word, the max out part.
Yeah,
I love
max it out, man.
Max out. I love it. Love it. Because the your ego, and which is edging God out, allows fear to come in. And that's where those questions, oh, should I go over here? Should I go over there? And that's not in God's timing. And that's why you have to listen and go slow and allow him to guide you to that next step. Because otherwise you make too many mistakes.
No doubt.
You'll end up coming back. So coming back, I want to ask you a question. I notice that in your office, your beautiful office building, Michael Cirillo is building a podcasting
tower.
Well, the set with the couch and the whole bit. I said to myself, is he going to have, like an interview show down the road? And maybe that's where Will Smith will come in. I'm just kidding. But I, my point of asking this is that those seeds that are there, and because again, you didn't say it once, you said it a lot of times, is that now you personally may say, that's not important anymore, but with what you're doing. But what is your vision with that? Is it just to keep it in the automotive, or do you see it expanding from that, meaning your podcasting and communication there in that studio that you're building?
Yeah, so we have a studio here in the main office, and then we just built a podcast studio over in the dealership also. And the podcast studio over in the dealership, our intention with that is we are going to interview 800 everyday people that do everyday jobs here in the state of Kentucky. And so we want to bring in other business owners and other, people that do everyday jobs. Like, nobody ever interviews the guy who picks up your trash on Thursday morning. I guarantee you that guy's got a story. I guarantee he's got a story, something impactful. Nobody ever interviews the woman that works in the library, the local library here in Lexington, Kentucky, the local library. Nobody ever interviews her because it's not a flashy job. It's not, you know what I mean? And so we want to interview those people because I know they have powerful stories that we've never heard. Me personally, I'm kind of drowned out on interviewing successful business owners or successful celebrities or whatever. Like, I've gotten enough of that for me. And I know that there's billions of people out there that need to be in that world. They need to hear that stuff, right? Like, that stuff's incredibly important. For me, I'm in a season of life now where I'm like, okay, I've kind of heard these stories and I've been able to apply them to my life. Now I want to hear some of these stories. And so that's what we're going to do with that particular podcast. And then here in the headquarters, the couch that you're referring to and so on and so forth, where we don't have a clear vision of what that looks like yet. It's just there, but it's a reminder to me every day, because also in there is my Johnny Carson collection of videos that my wife got me. And I know that helping people change the way they start their day and having a daily morning show that is motivational, educational, and inspirational, that ultimately brings people together, equips them with the tools they need to succeed, and inspires them to be great is a part of my path. I totally know and understand that. With that said, when that season is, I don't know. I don't know God's timing on it. So I have an image drawn in my office over there of #1 morning show in the world. That's still a part of my destiny. It's part of my future. That might be something that God says, okay, now you've built, 300, 800% dealerships across the country. You're 65 years old. And now I want you to do a morning show. Like, I don't know when that's coming, but I will be prepared when the opportunity, when the time comes. So that's what that couch is we are ready when we are called. We just have yet to be called in that direction in this particular season.
Well, that's when I saw that. I essentially knew that I know enough about you, kiddo, that was getting ready for that, because you are a getting ready kind of guy. And being prepared. You're always ready to take that next step and help others. And that's helping others is the other piece to you, Glenn, that I love. And like I said, I've just enjoyed knowing you from so many places with that. I remember Christmas, I don't know what year this would have been, but 19 probably, where you had the backpack thing and fill it and give it to someone. And the other, I don't remember the essence, but it was you were going out on the street of Lexington and giving people money for lunches.
And we were giving free hugs and $50 bills to homeless people.
And the Christmas when I did that, bag that I bought from you and filled it up and all of that stuff with the I have so many of the T-shirts and the the gear, but
Yes.
I gave it to this guy that had a homeless shelter here, and then I interviewed him on. It wasn't Unique Leaders yet, but it was something like you. I'm
Right.
always interviewing people,
Right.
and talking to people because I'm interested in people. So
Yeah.
are you? You know.
Yeah.
And that's really the essence. It's not the famous person I'm interested in. It's the mid-level person of life, like I am, that is always there working and helping others, to lift them up. And
No
that's
doubt.
what you do. You truly lift up. And so the last thing I wanted to ask you today, back to celebration, is your 4th of July celebration. And I know your backstory to it, but I'd love you to share with our guests. And you said 5 of the kids are there.
Yeah.
And I love. My father was a Pied Piper. I've told you this before, Glenn. Who's there? Who is that? Willow?
Yeah, you said
They're all
5
there.
of them. Well, hold on. Go ahead. Oakland and Fisher, come here, please.
Yeah, I would love to see them.
Come here.
They can be part of the deal. But
Say hi to Miss Megan real fast.
hi, guys. Hi.
Come on over.
Met you in Lexington at your dad and mom's conference years back. And so good to see you. And I follow you on social media, so I know a lot about you, more than you probably know I know.
You guys are covered in cheese puffs.
I know.
My goodness.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so
But you
how can
got
I
you.
help you guys? What do you guys need?
Yeah.
Can we have the candy?
Can you have some candy?
The bag that you had.
Okay.
There's Meredith. Hi,
Yep.
Meredith.
Hello.
And there's Miss
There's
Caroline.
Caroline. Hi, Caroline. I'm Megan.
Okay.
Somewhere.
And Willow
Hi,
is somewhere.
Oakland.
Okay, Meredith, in that bag of candy, there are mambas. Everyone can have one
Pack.
square pack of mamba, like not a whole thing with 3 packs. Everyone can have 1 pack, which has 6 mambas in it. Okay?
But
All right, go
Dad,
get some candy.
There's a bunch more candy.
I understand. You guys aren't, that's not for all right now. You may all have a pack of the fruity mambas, okay?
He's got his Adidas cap on. I have the same black Adidas cap.
But yeah, so sorry for the interruption.
No,
Yeah.
but that's part of celebration. And as I told you, Glenn, my father was a Pied Piper like
Right.
you. And especially when we were younger, when we started talking back, he didn't like that as much.
Sure.
But so celebration is a big part of not only your life, but the Lundy's life. And so you have the 4th of July celebration. But to finish out this time together, just share with our guests, what does celebration, family, and friends and life mean to you?
Yeah, we all love to be celebrated. And so celebrations are an opportunity to celebrate others. Like that's what it is, right?
Mhm.
That's the whole point. And so I believe that there is something deep inside of all of us where we have a desire to be the best versions of ourselves that we can possibly be. And when we act in that, when we are in flow with that, when we are connected deeply with what we are called to do, that's cause for celebration, right? And so, our 4th of July experience is an opportunity. I have a lot of memories around 4th of July, incredible memories. And part of those memories are the friends and family members that I experienced that season of my life with. And so now we have our big 4th of July celebration. One for me to kind of celebrate those people that helped me get through all the years, to be able to bring all those people together, but also we're trying to create a tradition of celebration in our house. So I want our kids to see that we go out of our way to open our homes. We go out of our way to create lifelong memories. We go out of our way to celebrate others. And of course, we go out of our way to celebrate this country that has given us so many opportunities that we've had. So I want my kids to lock in on the importance of celebrating others just as much as it is. So it's just as much as it is for them. It's just as much for them as it is for me.
For sure. And they will forever remember, because those are the things that we do remember, that we do treasure and remember. So Glenn Lundy, I just want to thank you for truly from the bottom of my heart. thank you for just being a part of my life. And I treasure that. And, I think back to New York City and that event that you did, which could have not happened.
Right.
And the connections that made and continue to have in my life from that, and celebrating life together. It has been a joy with your 1,000th anniversary there in Lexington, and to the first year in Nashville.
Right.
It was fabulous. And so just love celebrating with you as well, Glenn. So I just wanted
Thank
to
you.
have you part of this birthday celebration of the next trip around the sun. I'm
That's
here
it.
for you, Glenn. I want you to know that. Always will be.
I do know that. And thank you so much. Honored to be a part of your birthday celebration. You're an amazing human. You've done impactful things, and you continue to do many more impactful things. I'm inspired by you always. So thank you.
Thank you. Love you. Be
Love you.
blessed.
See ya.
Bye-bye. That was a gift to me to spend a few minutes with Glenn Lundy, one of my, as he says, education, inspiration, and motivation. Just listening to him and seeing that life is not easy. It is about continuing on, and it's staying within what is in your heart and never stopping, but listening and knowing that God is guiding us. Thank you guys for joining me today on this very special week, my birthday week. And do go to YouTube to the replay of this very special segment of the Propel Deep Dive and podcast with leaders and legends. And as I asked earlier, my birthday gift would be if you would just subscribe. It does help people to find us. And then next week, which is still my birthday month, I will have another very treasured person with me, and that person will share not only information about what they're doing, but what we're doing together in going into the next circle around the sun. So I look forward to having you with me, and do join the Propel community, because I know it will be so fruitful for you of what you're trying to do or are doing with starting, scaling, and sustaining the business and life of your dreams. See you next Wednesday for Propel Deep Dive, and be blessed.
Hello, peace. Hello, joy.